Hey, how's it going, y'all? So if you've been following the last few vlogs, you probably already know that I've been riding a loaner bike that I've absolutely been in love with. It's the 2020 Intense Primer 275. So today we're gonna, talk about it. This bike is a medium 2020 Intense Primer 275 Pro build. There are a few things that are not the same as stock though. For one, we have these awesome Hayes Dominion A4 brakes, which have just been absolutely amazing, with half metallic and half organic pads, just because, I'm weird like that. Oh yeah, and golfer rotors to go with those Hayes brakes. There is an Assegai Max Grip in the front, and a DHR2 Max Terra in the back. The bars on this are also cut to 760 millimeters. I think they came in at 800 mil stock. If you would like to see a full list of parts of the build, just click in the description. We're not going to take too much time out of it, but just know that there are a few things different from the stock Pro build. So straight out of the box, you actually see the attention to detail Intense gives this bike. The carbon is beautiful. It's got internal routing, it's got Xerx fittings for the lower length, which is awesome maintenance. It's got an actual headset. I'm not talking about internal nonsense where the bearing sits in the frame. I'm talking about cup bearings, which is a very, very big plus for me. It's got a threaded bottom bracket. It's got some really cool integrated seat post collar and hidden bolt stuff. It's just gorgeous. This frame also came with rock protection guards near the down tube, the chain stay, and the seat stay. And dude, this is rare nowadays. It's got a proper head badge. So the frame also comes with a flip chip, which lowers the bottom bracket, slackens the head tube, and shortens the reach a little bit more too. So that's kind of cool, adjustable geometry. So let's talk about the geometry. Yes, by today's standards, it's not low enough, it's not slack enough, it's not long enough, yada yada yada. Intense did go a little bit longer, but I actually really like that they did not go overly long, overly slack, overly low. And it's because of that makes this bike an excellent everyday trail riding do-it-all bike. Not everyone rides park all the time. Not everyone rides fast machine-built trails all the time. Most people ride hand-cut, janky, steep, tight stuff. So this bike being not overly long, not overly slack, not overly low, makes it easy enough to flick around and not feel like you're trying to turn a school bus. Now, flickability is key word here. I'm not talking about twitchiness, I'm talking about flickability. You can muscle this bike around, and it's just perfect for all those everyday tight, janky stuff that most people probably ride a lot more. Not to say that it's not capable in the rough though. It is still very, very stable in the high-speed, rough chundery stuff. And we'll come back to that later. Now, it being not stupid long, stupid slack, and stupid low as well, makes this bike jump pretty well as well. You guys have probably been following me learning that big jump line, and it is totally fine. Especially if you look at the size of those lips and how steep those are, they're borderline dirt jumps. Well, not quite dirt jumps, but borderline. And if it was overly long, sure, it's more stable and harder to go over the bars and stuff like that. But it's also harder to create lift and rotate around that rear axle. So yeah, bike just jumps really, really well as well. It's pretty solid. Suspension design. Well, it is what Intense calls JS tuned. It is very, very similar to the VPP. Just like the VPP, pedals amazingly well. It's got really, really good mid-stroke support, so it rides high in the travel. You can slam into gnarly stuff and not worry about it, and still have a little bit more for when you do make a mistake and you need your suspension to save your butt. So yeah, like the combination of how the suspension works with the JS tuned with the geometry of it just being long enough to be stable makes it a really good do-it-all rounder kind of bike. You can ride the tight bolts jank, you can just blast your way down rough waterfall chundery sections, you can jump this thing. It is a very good balance. Oh, forgot one more thing. It's got a bottle cage, and that's pretty much like a deal breaker for me nowadays if I can't have one on a bike. But yeah, it's just a great do-it-all bike. Now, back to this whole stability and how capable and how awesome this bike rides in the rough stuff. Yes, the frame is plenty capable of hitting some gnarly stuff. And because people started doing so, everyone's starting to push the Fox 34 that's spec'd on it, which is a really good trail bike fork, harder than what it's intended for. I weigh 130, sometimes 135, depending on how many beers I drink the night before. I don't really feel the flex in the 34, except for a few times if I'm really pinning it down a really rough section. But yeah, all the 2021 primers are now spec'd with 36s, so yeah, frame rides amazing. So now the new 2021s are spec'd with a beefier fork to better match the capabilities of the frame. So, differences between the 2020 and the 2021, it's the same frame, different paint job. So yeah, there you have it, man. That's just the Intense Primer 275. Absolutely love it as a do-it-all bike for sure. Is it a full-on enduro race bike? Probably not, though. You could do an enduro race with it and be almost as fast as a proper race bike. I mean, I think Seth Sherlock raced Crankworks on one, which is pretty rad. But yeah, man, overall it's just a good everyday do-it-all bike. It will take all your hand-cut janky trails, it will jump, it will take the high-speed gnar violent stuff too. Yeah, pretty sad that I'm gonna have to return this one at some point, but it is what it is. I'm just gonna keep having fun on it for now. So hopefully this video has given you an insight to my experiences on this bike. Yeah, absolutely love it for a do-it-all everyday bike. Don't forget to click subscribe, click for something else, click for riding videos on this bike, click on something. I'll catch you all later.